sun, but not particularly a place for innovation and new ideas. But in order for Miami to compete on a global scale, it needs to invest in keeping its talent, retaining its talent, and attracting new talent. It needs to be a place to spur new ideas and new discovery. And it's in that spirit we launched in partnership with the Knight Foundation in Atlantic City's Startup City Miami. I'm at the second annual Startup City Miami at the New World Symphony in Miami Beach, where we've convened the best thinkers and leaders on innovation, entrepreneurship, and tech.
We have Michael Jones from Google, Sam Altman from Y Combinator, Colin Ray from IDEO, Josh Linkner from Detroit and Detroit Rock Ventures, Ilan Zechary of Rap Genius, David Porter of 8Tracks, and from Miami, we have an all-star list: Andres Moreno from Open English, Manny Medina, Roger Duarte of My Cervece, Joel and Letitia Pollock of Panther Coffee, and many more. And we have fantastic moderators to guide this discussion. Three in particular I want to note. My great colleague Steve Clemens, the incredible Steve Clemens, you will meet Steve, is here from Washington, D.C. in the Atlantic, and Alexis Madrigal, who's probably the leading, I was going to say young, but probably the leading technology writer in the world right now. And Carol Coletta, my dear friend from the Knight Foundation. Anyway, what we found is this remarkable shift, this unbelievable shift in startup activity back to the urban core. Silicon Valley is no longer the leading center of startup activity in the United States and the world. You'll hear from David Porter later and talking about his startup in downtown San Francisco in his live-work loft. That's where the action is happening. We are now seeing almost double the rate of venture investment and startup activity in the urban zones, the South of Market area, the Mission District, the areas downtown San Francisco, almost double, a quarter of all venture capital investment in the United States. New York City. When I was studying venture capital 2 decades ago, New York City was a place that raised venture capital and shifted to the suburbs of Boston or the areas of Silicon Valley. Now New York City is attracting more than $3 billion a year in the areas of Lower Manhattan, stretching from Midtown South and Midtown East down through the Meatpacking District in Chelsea, through Soho, the Village, Tribeca, down to Lower Manhattan and across into Brooklyn. Walkable suburbs. The leading centers of venture capital in the suburbs are not the old Nerdistan exurbs. They're the walkable suburbs like Cambridge, Massachusetts, around MIT, attracting over $1 billion a year. Palo Alto, right across, and in the greater DC area, Bethesda, Arlington, and Alexandria. College towns like Boulder, but not just Boulder and Austin. College towns like Ann Arbor in the shadow of Detroit. Even Lawrence, Kansas, attracting large amounts of venture capital and startups on a per capita basis. And what's driving it? Well, we've interviewed lots of entrepreneurs and a lot of startup leaders. We've talked to people like Fred Wilson in New York and many others across the country. It's the demands of talent. You know, Endeavor International, thanks to the Knight Foundation, opened their first office outside of the rest of the world in the United States in Miami. There's a major new study from Endeavor and their team, which shows what do entrepreneurs want, what drives the decisions of entrepreneurs, what do they look for in a city, what do they value in an ecosystem. It's talent. And increasingly, talent wants to be in vibrant, dynamic urban centers. Our report proves this. We show a high degree of correlation between rates of startup activity, rates of venture capital investment, and places that have talent, high degrees of college-educated people, an area where Miami, frankly, lags. A high proportion of workers doing knowledge work, or members of what I call the creative class, science, technology, business, professionals, finance, healthcare, but also arts, culture, media, and entertainment. And the other thing that we find is driving the shift of startup activity and startup ecologies back to the urban core is a preference for diversity. We find high degrees of correlation between startup activity and venture investment and the number of foreign-born people, an area Miami and greater Miami perform well in. The percentage of people who are involved in arts, culture, entertainment, and the media, and of course, the openness of a community to the gay and lesbian population. That's not because diversity drives economic growth and startup activity. It's because an open-minded place, a diverse place, is open to new kinds of thinking, new kinds of ideas, supports, and allows people from outside, just like we're seeing here, outsiders to come into a community and quickly mobilize. That's why places that were once home to fashion industries or movie industries, arts and music scenes, were once welcoming centers for the gay and lesbian community. It's not a one-to-one association. It's that they're the kind of open-minded communities, the kind of diverse communities, the kind of talent-attracting communities that can really succeed in allowing all kinds of people, young and old, boy and girl, straight or gay, Latino, Asian, Caucasian, African American, to engage and create those resources, mobilize people around them.
I'm with Mayor Phil Levine from Miami Beach, and we're at Startup Miami. Mayor Phil, I'd love to talk to you about entrepreneurship in Miami Beach, and if someone is starting a new company, why should they choose Miami over other cities, say Detroit, where maybe the rent's cheaper, or Silicon Valley, where there's also lots of tech happening? Why Miami?
Well, I think Miami Beach is such an incredible place to live, and we're naturally attracting people from all over the world that want to live in Miami Beach. I mean, it's, we got amazing beaches, we got amazing weather, but now, different than ever before, we have people that are bringing all kinds of talent that one would need if they're starting a company in Miami. What's unique is that we have amazing investors that are moving to Miami Beach or buying second homes here. So if you're a startup and you're looking to attract capital, I don't think you can find more capital in a more condensed area than Miami Beach.
I love what you said in the session about creating a yes culture. Lots of startups go into a city and they have a hard time dealing with the bureaucracy of no. So how do you help startups with this culture of yes?
Well, I was sworn in as mayor in November of last year, so it's not that long, but we've already started a major culture change. And what we've said to all the staff of Miami Beach is that you start with yes, you do not start with no. Anything's possible in Miami Beach, and Miami Beach is an example of that. So what we've done, we've created that energy. One of my quotes I always believe is the speed of the leader determines the rate of the pack in any company, in any organization. The leadership now in Miami Beach is a leadership of yes, and it's transcending through all levels of the staff.
And is that really working? I mean, it sounds like a great concept, but is it really empowering people to say yes and make decisions?
Absolutely. We're hearing it all across the city. People are already chatting about it and talking about it. They're saying, my God, the way that people feel differently.
And startups are hard enough for entrepreneurs. What can cities do to support them?
Well, I think creating a culture of yes. I also believe that sometimes not making it so difficult for them to navigate the regulations. Sometimes it's a little bit even better if governments stay out of their way. I think there was a former president that said the worst thing a business person or entrepreneur can hear is, hi, I'm from the government, I'm here to help you. Okay? I think entrepreneurs know how to get things done. And they know how to do it. They just don't want to have barriers in their way. So breaking down barriers is what a government should be doing.
And I love your quote about you should be on the right side of technology and the right side of the future. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think Uber is a perfect example. I mean, I happen to love Uber. And I believe that unfortunately Miami-Dade County, that commission, has not approved Uber yet. Our commission, Miami Beach, we approved it right away. We said we want Uber, we want it yesterday. Being in the way of technology, being in the way of the future advancement is always a bad place to be. You get run over.
And Miami seems to have creativity and diversity infused in its DNA. Do you think that creates a great startup culture?
Completely. I mean, think about it. It's very similar to New York City. We have people from all over the world, whether you're from Argentina or Brazil, or you're from New York or Detroit, or you're from Europe. Everybody wants to be in Miami Beach. And having all those people together in a big stirring pot, a lot of great ideas come out and a lot of fun happens.
At Knight Foundation, our mission is promoting informed and engaged communities. And less than 2 years ago, we at Knight Foundation made a new bet on Miami. That was essentially a bet on all of you here. We decided to widen our lens on Miami's creative community, focusing not only on artists, but entrepreneurs. The idea was to invest in Miami's emerging and increasingly innovative entrepreneurs as a tool to build community, in an effort to bind people to each other and to our rapidly evolving city. As Richard, as you put it last year, to help our city take that next step. Over the past 18 months, we have made more than 50 investments in entrepreneurship in South Florida. The aim? Connect, support, and inspire Miami's emerging community of entrepreneurs, startups, makers, and doers of all kinds. The goal? To help make Miami more of a place where ideas are built.